Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at One Piece. Chapter 818 has been dropped for a while, but it was so good, it was so revealing. Had to lie down to digest that information, so I didn't really do an immediate review. It really was that good, and I'm telling you now, it's 10 out of 10, so Order, you've done it again. I really don't know how you make such amazing manga. I can see why One Piece is number one and will be number one for a very long time. I don't care what people say. Quick shout out for those who aren't aware. There was no Bleach chapter today because the mangaka is ill. So get well soon. Get well soon. You're probably never going to see this, but get well soon. But yeah, an amazing chapter. When your chapter starts off with a cover page of Sabo, Koala and Dragon reacting to the 500 million berry, and then you get them watching Zo at the beginning of the chapter, and then getting told to come in because the translation or the deciphering of the poneglyph has happened, you know it's going to be an amazing chapter. You just know it. It's a 10 out of 10 chapter. Let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get into the review. So the chapter, shots were fired, bombs were thrown, tremors were felt. The world's landscape in One Piece has completely changed just like that. Just when we thought things were going to go well, we'd find out bits and parts. This really has become somewhat crazy all of a sudden. And we had so many revelations in this chapter. It was amazing. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing we found out was that the poneglyph is red for a reason. It's a special poneglyph. It's called the Road Poneglyph, and it basically maps out the location to Raftel. So the significance of this is so important to the story. Now, when you look at the story from like way back when they met, Silver's Rayleigh, we find a little bit, we know about One Piece, you had everything on the Paramount War. It's been a while since they've kind of gone back to that story. So the way Oda's done this is amazing because so many crazy things have happened, but hitting the new world, it's reinforcing the point that, you know, there is still an end to the story, crazy things shall happen. But we find out that there's 4 of them. One is disappeared to the world, and 2 others are elsewhere, which I'll get into another point. But the fact is there's 4 of them, and you need to find information about 4, as where they intersect location wise will lead you to find Raftel. So the location of Raftel is there somewhere. We have to find out what's going to happen. That's point number 1. Point number 2, Luffy being Luffy gets excited saying, yes, we're on the way, and let's go to Big Bombs, and let's go get Sanji. And we find, which is cool, which is amazing, which is crazy as usual. We get found that that's probably something they're gonna have to do, because remember how we got told or mentioned that there's 2 others and they're held by some people. One of them is Big Mom, the other one is Kaido, so we're gonna have to meet and defeat them. Or so we thought. But what's funny was in the chapter you get a section that's and it was between Luffy and Usopp and Nekomushi, and he goes, which kind of bonehead would actually go and want to fight with these people together? He goes, there's other ways to get around it. And then like Usopp's like, yeah, we'll sneak in, we'll do what we need to do, we'll copy it, and we'll go. And Luffy makes that face like, I don't want to do that. You know he wants something exciting. He doesn't want anything boring. Which reminds me of way back when they met the Straw Hats met Rayleigh, and he goes, I don't want a boring adventure. It just really made me think of that actual scene. So I couldn't stop laughing at that. And you know, Usopp's like, are you crazy? No, we wanted to punch him and start brawling and stuff like that. I couldn't stop laughing. But yeah, so that's gonna happen. How they go about doing that, I don't know. We also find out there's, you could say, photocopies of this as well in the world, which sets up point number 3. So, with there being photocopies of this this deciphering of other road poneglyphs. Bearing in mind there's 4, one is lost locations, we'll discuss in a second. The point was made that there's a lot of people out there looking to find out about the Void Century. Now I put this as a specific point above the location of the 4th poneglyph because this sets up potentially the meeting of D's. That's how I see it, because the whole idea is there's a theory out there. I don't know who's done it. There's probably loads of people. I'm gonna shout them out because I respect and I enjoy every one of these theories. Roger Bass does some good ones. Anime Fan Talk, he's a bit crazy, but yeah, he's pretty good. Alpha Too Late, One Word HD. There's so many good ones out there. One of these I've got it. I don't know which one it is, but basically the idea is the whole D-clan situation was they were spreading to the world to find out the truth and reveal it to the world. So I'd imagine the people that are trying to find out about the Void Century are going to be other members of the D-clan, or people that inherited D, as in not D as in to get D, but D as in the middle name, initial. Anyway, so I'm hoping we're going to get to see that coming up very soon. That's going to be amazing, which sets up the next point. The next point number 4. Point number 4 is interesting because so we know that where 2 of the poneglyphs are, those specific poneglyphs, we know the Yonkou have got them, which is crazy because what the hell? What do you do in that situation? You know they want to become Pirate King basically. It's hard to deny that now when either Kaido or Big Mom's got one. You know they want to be that. The power is important. Having that kind of pressure, that title, I'd imagine would do wonders when you're out in the sea. But we know they've got 2. We know there's one on Zo. Where is the 4th? Now I'm going to make a big theory out of this because there's something I've been thinking about for a while. I even slept on it, but here's a few names I'm going to throw out there. The obvious ones. Shanks. Why? To prevent other people finding One Piece, Raftel. Also, maybe potentially that was part of his quest as a member of Roger's crew to protect it so that other people can't find it until a legitimate successor can come. Maybe Luffy. Interesting. Maybe that was part of the whole deal with, when you become an amazing pirate, meet me. Maybe. So that's the easy one, but I'm gonna expand on these things later. Another one is members of the Whitebeard crew. Remember how we had the idea and talks of a treasure that potentially was had by Whitebeard, being a former Yonkou, former because he's dead now. Quite possible that he's got it. So that's option number 2. Option number 3 is Dragon, being the world's most dangerous or most wanted criminal, or 4, the world government. So I'll talk in a bit more into detail about why I think each of them are, but there's 4 names that I wanted to throw out there potentially just to give my thoughts on it. So that's point number 4. Let's move on to point number 5. Oof. So the final point number 5, the revelations kept coming down there. So this one I found interesting because no one really talked about it beforehand with the previous chapter revelation, but last week the revelation was in the chapter, we just didn't know it. And basically, if you actually read the Viz Media translation, it became more apparent, not so apparent with the other ones, but in the last week's chapter, because I was reading it on Monday and Tuesday when the Viz Media translation actually came out, there was mention about, it's been a couple of months since that's happened. They mentioned Odin and like they felt guilty about it. So you immediately think that either he was killed or something crazy happened on Wano, which both are the case in this case. So we find out that basically the leader, Odin Kuzeki, which an interesting tidbit, the reason why the name changed in the translation was actually from Manga Stream and a few other places, is because of the way it's read. Apparently, depending on how you read it in Japanese kanji, it can be read in both ways. So that's the reason why it's the different. That's how this come across. But anyway, basically, he was the leader of the clan Odin. Was executed by the shogun, so the head guy in Wano, because they're very samurai based, and the current guy who's overseeing like just basically ruling that place. He's a warlord. Is Kaido. A lot of people called it. I'm not going to take credit for it. I thought about it as well, but when you had so many people mentioning it, it became a kind of foregone conclusion, so to speak. He rules it, and he executed Odin, which is probably why he was after Raizo. He was probably after the information. He was probably after the road poneglyph. That was all apparent. However, the question was why. Now, we find out that basically 800 years ago, it was the Kozeki family that created the actual poneglyphs, which is wow, really, order so bloody soon, which hints to the Void Century. But then taking a step further, the ability to read, which really did not even tell anybody about, nor to you really. And write and understand the poneglyphs. There was another person that could do that, and that was Odin. And guess of all people who he was helping? Guess. He was actually helping the Pirate King. He was a member of the Pirate King's crew. He went to Raftel and he found the One Piece. So there's reasoning behind why the man could do it. Goldie Roger had the tools to do it. The guy was crazy powerful, had crazy crew members, and he had knowledge. Not himself, maybe. He could be the reader and seer of all things, I guess. Voice of all things. But he had Odin on his side. Knowing this, taking it to his grave, respect to Odin. I can't believe he did that to protect his friends and family. He was executed because they wanted that information. He did not give it up. Wow, what a chapter. That's a long point. A lot I went through there. There's so many things I was thinking about with this. An amazing chapter. Hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you enjoyed my points. Look forward to that theory out there. As always, please show your support by like, commenting, subscribing and sharing. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.